they are about to get a lot harder to guard, as three-point shooting has been the biggest question for the San Antonio Spurs team moving forward. A look at some statistics, not only for Victor Wembanyama, but how Mitch Johnson plans to run this team, and looking at the history of some of the players with some more questionable three-point shots leads us to the conclusion that the San Antonio Spurs are in a position to be incredibly dangerous for the rest of the NBA. We got to dive into some of the shooting statistics, Mitch Johnson's vision, De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell, and a whole lot more. Check this out, Keenan. I think it's time to get into the three-point shooting because it's a very interesting topic. It's a bit of a divisive topic for San Antonio Spurs fans, and it's something that I spoke about in a recent video, and I know we've had a lot of chats about this, me and you and Brian, and pretty much any fan who follows the San Antonio Spurs, our chat, our comments. The Spurs, when it comes to three-point shooting, look, I don't think it's a stretch, Keenan, to say that this is the most talked about issue with this team. Is it? That's about right. Yeah, would you agree?
It needs that and the size, and we addressed the size, so now it's the most talked about issue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we brought in Cornette, we brought in Olynyk. Hey, listen, we got our big boys now, but it's the shooting, right? Yeah. Especially after De'Aaron Fox and his pinky, and he doesn't have a great history of it. Castle, he's not so great. There's a lot of question marks, and when we go back to last season, right, the San Antonio Spurs were 8th in terms of teams, in terms of percentage of their shots that were threes. Among all the teams in the league, the Spurs shot the 8th most threes in terms of all their field goal attempts, right? 44% of all the Spurs field goal attempts were threes. Celtics, still insane that they were that far ahead of second place Golden State by anyway, that's just nuts. 6.5%. Oh, crazy. Yeah, ridiculous. But we know Mitch Johnson, we talked about it a lot. He likes to run this pace and space. Like, the shooting is something that's going to naturally come from this era of offense that is coming from San Antonio. So when we look at the roster and we look at the fact that this team's going to play fast, we're going to have a lot of open threes, whether in transition or even in the half court, just simply because of the gravity of guys like De'Aaron Fox, of course, but Stephon Castle's getting to the rim like crazy. You're going to have to throw multiple guys at him. And of course, Victor Wembanyama drawing in the defense. We're going to have to kick it out a lot. We're going to have to improve on being the 20th most efficient team from three. Only 35.7% last year, despite shooting the 8th most threes in terms of all our shots. So, but when we talk about that, Keenan, I got a couple things I want to say, and I know you have some things you want to say. I genuinely think that a lot of the guys who had bad shooting seasons from three this year are going to bounce back because these guys are not guys that have historically been bad from three. There's a couple of other guys. I just want to talk quickly because I know I'm talking a lot right now. A guy like Keldon Johnson, I think 32% is going to go higher, right? A guy like Devin Vassell, he was above league average last year, but this dude through his career has been one of the best three-point shooters from the corner in the entire NBA. Fully healthy Vassell could very well get there. Wembanyama, not bounce back, but every single year his three-point percentage is increasing. Castle, fine. De'Aaron Fox, he has a season shooting like 38% from three on 8 attempts a game. So when I analyze this, Keenan, I can't help but think that this is genuinely something people are really sleeping on with San Antonio. How are you feeling about this?
I felt the same way. You had Keldon Johnson last year, who shot about 31.8% from three. The year before, he shot close to 35% from three. Devin Vassell, the 2 years prior, shot over 38% from three. Wemby's only becoming a better shooter. He is growing. De'Aaron Fox has had this issue with his pinky, on his shooting hand for multiple years. We saw it initially in the Western Conference first round against Golden State, and from that point on, it has not been addressed until this latter half of the season last year. So there are multiple people in this setting who have not showcased their best three-point shooting when they absolutely can. And we have talked about how the three-point percentage, we were 44% of our shots were threes, which was 8th in the league. Amongst 9 teams that shot 39% or shot 39 attempts or more from three, we ranked 6th. The 3 teams that shot worse from three were the Wizards, the Nets, and the Jazz.
Not real teams.
All lottery teams, all teams that we saw in draft, not like, oh, don't take our guy, please, because we want him to fall. And then the teams that shot better, Boston, Golden State, Cleveland, Minnesota, and Chicago. Chicago is the only play-in team. The rest of those teams are playoff teams. All we need to do is get to about 37%. We're at 35.7. 37% puts us top 9 in the league. And if we're going to take that high of volume, literally just one per every just literally one per every 8 more threes we need to make. That's really it. We're not asking for a lot. We don't need to get to 40% or anything. Just the corner threes, when Dylan Harper's getting downhill, when De'Aaron Fox is getting downhill, when Stephon Castle is getting downhill, when Wemby draws a double team, all of these players, we just need Champagnie to hit 38% of his threes. We need Keldon Johnson to come in, hit 35%. Vassell, stay at that 38% that we know you can do. We're not asking for people to be over 40. We're just asking for you to do what you can do. And when we do that, we have the ability, and what that doesn't lead is to long run-outs. That's where you get beat in transition. There's so many times the Spurs got beat in transition. I specifically remember last year, Memphis just dog-walked us with role players last year because we just couldn't beat them in transition. And a lot of that does to long rebounds because of bad three-point shooting.
Yeah, and I think the transition game this year, offensively and defensively, will be a main focus. I mean, it's the style of play that we wanna play like, and we want to play fast. And so, learning how to deal with that. Gosh, isn't this just the time? Like, you want good transition defense, you want 3-point shooting. Where is Danny Green? What is he doing at this point? Right? He fits that bill exactly. But no, exactly. Like, all you need, I think that's a great point, is just marginal increases from a lot of these guys. And I think that based on what we're seeing, the analytics, not even just analytics, just the trends for a lot of these players in the past, when they've been in better situations, when they've been on a team that, well, maybe not even necessarily better situations. These Spurs teams that were not so great, we still had Vassell and Keldon Johnson shooting better from three. Wemby's improving. Fox, when he shot his most threes, was his best season before his pinky started to give out. And this past season, with the Spurs, it was not a good three-point split. And I mean, overall, it wasn't an amazing three-point split either at 31%. But again, reminder, like, I said this in the video, this guy has a season shooting like 8 threes a game at like 2% above league average. Like, he is able to have a great three-point shooting year. Can you rely on that? Not necessarily, but like, even if just Fox goes from 31% last year up to back to like 35 or 36, which is a bit more in line with what the rest of his career is, that alone makes such a difference. If he is shooting 5 threes a game, I don't even know. I can't do that math really quick, but that's an extra make every now and then, every few games, right? Like, it just makes a huge difference down the line. So I want to hear what the chat has to say about this, because I think the three-point shooting, the fact that it's treated as like almost like, man, this is really the biggest problem, I would agree. But also, I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be, especially some analysts looking at the Spurs and saying, oh, well, if they don't have shooting, look, I would still love a Danny Greenback or what, Dougie McBuckets, you know, these kind of guys, Patty Mills, Marco Bellinelli, whoever, guys that are staples of the Spurs past to come in and be three-point snipers, Keenan. But like, I think at the end of the day, after looking at all this, like, even a guy like Sochan, I see his name there in chat, he's going to improve from three. We probably have a video coming out on Sochan tomorrow. It's very interesting. But like, at the end of the day, I'm starting to feel like it's just not as bad as people make it out to be, and I think that's an incredible thing for us to be able to say.
Yes, and we do have legitimate shooters now. We have a couple of legitimate shooters. Like, Harrison Barnes is a legitimate shooter. Like, he's a great corner shooter, shoots over 40% from three. Like, he can legitimately shoot. And then Kelly Olynyk is another guy who can come in and shoot over 40% from three. As you see there, he shot almost 42% last season. Those are two guys that can come in and be legitimate three-point shooters. And then with Wemby, I would like him just to now, because we're out of the trial stage for me. Like, for Wemby, like last year and a couple years before, we were in like let's see how we can extend our range. Let's see how many threes we can take. Like, he was taking a bunch of threes. I would like him to take 4 to 5 and make them smart threes, because that percentage legitimately can be 37, 38. There was a lot of threes last year where you're like 18 seconds left on the shot clock.
Dude, he shot 9 of them a game.
You know, that was more than Steph in his MVP, his first MVP season. And it's like, wait a second, what? But you mean that 67-15 Warriors Steph, the one that really took the league by the storm? That Steph, he shot more threes than that guy. Yeah. So, like, you're like, okay, Wemby, just tone that down to 5, tone that down. I'm even fine 5, 6 off pick and pops. And then if you get hot, sure, take them. But just smart threes. I honestly think 44% is a little high for us for three. I would love 41% from, like, 41% of our shots being threes, to be quite honest with you. I like it a little bit lower for me personally, just because if we're more efficient with the threes that we make, I think that would be even better than taking a lot and trying to make up for the fact that we're not as good a three-point shooter as, say, Boston is. But that's an insane number still. Yeah. Golly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The Warriors who shoot threes like they're created the small ball, they're blowing them out of the water. That's insane.
It's insane. I'm excited to see, but I think your point on the trial run with Wemby is like, it is kind of over, because like, How many threes do you think he's going to shoot a game this year? Like, is he going to touch? I feel like with Fox there, he's going to see a downtick, but also at the same time, like, I don't know why I get this, like, this not a sinking feeling, because I trust Wemby more than, like, I trust many people in my life, but at the same time, like, is it crazy to think that he might try and go for like 9 or 10 threes a game? I might make a poll for this, Keenan, because like I wonder, right? Like, it is a trial period, but he jacked up his attempts this year. And you know what also went up? His percentage. And despite taking these insane step back double team threes, like, his shot quality was bad. I remember at one point in the year, like the threes that he was taking, like, he took some of the most contested looks in the league, and he was still shooting a reasonable percentage on an insanely high volume. So if that trend can continue, which who knows if it will, I just wonder, like, I mean, this guy, if he can, this guy's just going to be the GOAT in like 2 years. But, like, is it crazy to say he might take even more? I think it was 8.8 last year, right? Is it crazy to say he could take over 9 threes a game this year?
I think it is kind of crazy, but, like, I mean, your guys who took over 9 threes, Steph, Ant, Jason Tatum, like, those are your guys taking. Donovan Mitchell was taking 9, Tyler Hero was taking 9, Dame was taking 9.
Yeah.
So, like, to think that you have all of those wings who are perimeter guys and then just Wemby, it's like, just because he is like 7'4" to 7'7", we don't really, like, his definitive height always changes to me. Sometimes you'll see like, oh, he's 7'4", then you're like, wait, is he 7'7"? Is he still growing? So, like, I would love for him to operate from like 21 and in, and I'm hopeful that KG can get that out of him a little bit. That's just a personal thing. I hope he does 9 and 3 game. I really hope he doesn't. But, like, I'm with you where I could just see in the beginning of the season, especially if he starts off hot, like, I'm just gonna let it go. I'm just
like,
gonna let it go.